now for the next step of this diorama, I'm going to build a base. Since without the base, you can't really position everything and see where everything will fit in relation to one another. Once the base is built, it's easy to see how to compose that scene, and generally, so that's why I'm building the base now. This base is vacuum formed and comes with rather thick flash on the outside, so I'm just going to take a knife to it and scribe several times before it comes off. So I ended up damaging this end a little bit, but it is the back of it, but I will sand it down just so that it will look good. There we go. Alright, so that's the base piece done. It's not sitting quite flat because I don't have a flat surface to sit it on. I'm just going to test it on the floor. Actually, it doesn't look flat at all. I'm going to have to reinforce it with something or weigh it down. But one thing that does occur to me is that maybe perhaps once the tank is sitting on top, the weight of it will help to flatten it out. I could even put some weight inside the tank, maybe. Flatten the diorama a little bit. Yep. I think that will work. That should be the case. Now, well, earlier I mentioned that this did look quite a decent budget diorama piece at first glance. I will tell you now that the fit is absolutely terrible. The pieces here don't line up to the grooves, so I think this shrunk or something. Well, this didn't. And overall, the warping on the lower piece doesn't allow the top piece to stick very well, so I'm just going to apply liberal amounts of superglue to try to hold it in place. Hopefully, once that's dry, that should hold. I'm going to be holding this in place for a while, so I'm just going to cut the video here. Okay, so the first piece of the wall eventually did come together after almost half a tube of superglue, and but it still has lots of cracks and gaps in it that I will eventually have to fix with some texture paint to look like rubble or something that can fill the gap. Yeah, this was a pain in the butt to put together, and I still have to put the top on, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so here I am building the top of the wall. The fitting is just as atrocious as the bottom was. I'm hoping if I glue the corners in together first, but give me some kind of basis to work on the rest of the seam along here. Again, that's going to need quite a lot of sculpting and fitting, maybe some epoxy putty to remake some of the detail that was lost along the seam. Basically, you get what you pay for. This was a cheap set, and turning out to be a cheap fit. Okay, the top actually came together easier than expected. Once the corners were in, everything lined up perfectly. Now that can go on top. Once I've sanded down the top a bit and get that to fit a bit better. But it should look alright when it's done. Okay, I'm just fitting the top on now, after sanding it flat at the top. I've only applied glue at the front and back of the connections. See if I can apply a bit more here. Okay, doesn't look too bad. There's a lot of gap and seam along the bottom here. That should, I'll just fill it up with rubble and texture paint. Should make it turn out alright. Time to assemble some infantry and resting crew. I'll see you in the next episode.